Sophia Clarke stood on the grand stage of the city gala, her hands trembling slightly as she adjusted the microphone. The glittering chandelier above cast a dazzling glow over the audience, filled with the city's wealthiest and most influential people. Tonight was supposed to be her moment, a recognition for her innovative project at Clarke & Company, the company she had poured years of sweat and sleepless nights into. But as soon as she began her speech, the whispers started. At first, she ignored them, thinking nerves were playing tricks on her. Then came the laughter. A sharp, mocking sound that sliced through the polished hum of the gala. Sophia froze. Her main rival, Vanessa Mitchell, leaned forward in her chair with a cruel smile, whispering something to her friends. Within seconds, the entire table was snickering, and whispers spread like wildfire across the room. "Is this really her work?" someone called out from the back, their voice dripping with scorn. Sophia felt her face flush with heat. The microphone amplified every word, making her feel smaller, weaker, exposed. She tried to continue, to defend herself, but her voice cracked, betraying the fury and humiliation building inside her. Cameras flashed, and every second felt like an eternity. Her brilliant work, the countless nights of dedication, were reduced to a public joke in front of the city's elite. As she stepped down from the stage, the applause was hollow, forced, mocking. Some patted her back, but the eyes that mattered most, Vanessa's and her circle's, burned with satisfaction at her embarrassment. Sophia walked off with her head held high, but inside, a storm was brewing, a storm fueled by anger, shame, and a promise that no one would ever humiliate her like this again. Long before the gala, Sophia Clarke's life had been a constant battle against invisibility. At Clarke & Company, she had spent years proving herself, often working late nights and weekends while her colleagues took credit for her ideas. Her intelligence was obvious to anyone who looked closely, yet those around her seemed determined to ignore it. Promotions passed her by, awards were given to people who had barely lifted a finger, and her suggestions in meetings were dismissed with polite nods, or worse, sarcastic laughs. It wasn't just at work. Friends she had trusted had whispered behind her back, sharing rumors that painted her as arrogant or incapable. Even her family, proud of her in theory, rarely supported her ambitions. "Sophia, you're too soft for this world," her father would say, unaware that she had already spent years turning that softness into strength. Every humiliation, every betrayal, had chipped away at her confidence, but it had never broken her completely. Instead, it had forged a quiet determination inside her, a refusal to remain powerless while others thrived on mockery and deceit. Sophia remembered the time her first big project at Clarke & Company had been handed to her mentor's son, even though she had done all the groundwork. Or the charity gala last year where her innovative design was dismissed as cute but impractical, while another designer received a standing ovation for copying her ideas. Each incident left a scar, a reminder that the world was quick to judge but slow to respect real talent. And now, after the latest public humiliation, it was clear that this pattern would not end unless she ended it herself. The whispers, the snickers, the betrayals, they had built a fire inside her, one that would no longer be hidden. Sophia realized that revenge was not about cruelty. It was about reclaiming the power and respect that had been denied to her for too long. The humiliation at the gala had been the spark, but the years of injustice were the fuel. From this moment, Sophia's life would change, not for recognition, not for approval, but to prove to everyone, and most importantly herself, that she was unstoppable. After the gala, Sophia retreated to her small, neatly kept apartment overlooking the city skyline. The noise of the city below felt distant, almost insignificant compared to the storm raging inside her. For the first time in years, she allowed herself to embrace the full weight of her anger. It was sharp, burning, but also strangely empowering. This humiliation, this betrayal, it would no longer define her. Sophia began studying the people who had mocked and underestimated her. She learned their routines, their weaknesses, and their ambitions. She spent nights reading business reports, understanding deals she had once only glimpsed in meetings, and analyzing every opportunity that could shift power in her favor. Every coffee break, every silent walk through the city streets became a chance to think, plan, and strategize. She also began reaching out quietly, building alliances with people others ignored, the overlooked employees, small investors, and consultants who had skills and knowledge that could help her. No one saw these connections coming, which gave her an advantage. Slowly, methodically, Sophia was creating a network that would become her silent army. Her first victories were small but meaningful. A minor investor she approached agreed to fund one of her innovative ideas. A rival colleague underestimated her during a board meeting, only for Sophia to subtly reveal insights that highlighted her superior understanding of the market. With each success, her confidence grew, and the fear of humiliation began to fade. But it wasn't just about revenge, it was about mastery. Sophia realized that patience was her most powerful weapon. Every move she made was calculated, designed to prepare her for the moment when the world would see her not as a timid, mocked woman, but as someone capable of unmatched influence. Late at night, she would sit by her window, staring at the city lights, imagining the day when those who laughed at her would feel the weight of her success. A smile, small but fierce, would cross her face. This was no longer a story of shame, it was the beginning of her rise, a carefully planned path from humiliation to dominance. Sophia Clarke was no longer just a victim. She was a strategist, a force, and soon, everyone would have to respect her. Within months, Sophia Clarke's transformation was impossible to ignore. Deals she had once only dreamed of now fell into her hands. Companies she had admired from the sidelines began seeking her advice. Her innovative projects were no longer ignored, they were celebrated. The very people who had mocked her, the colleagues, the investors, the so-called friends, watched from the sidelines as she quietly took control of opportunities they thought were beyond her reach. Her rise was deliberate, almost surgical. During board meetings, she revealed insights that left rivals scrambling, exposing their incompetence without ever appearing aggressive. Socially, she moved with confidence, attending elite gatherings and subtly networking with influential figures who had previously dismissed her. Each connection strengthened her position. Each calculated move increased her power. The ultimate moment came at a major industry conference. Vanessa Mitchell, Sophia's chief rival, was giving a keynote speech, flaunting her success and mocking Sophia's past failures with thinly veiled sarcasm. Sophia walked onto the stage, not with anger, but with calm assurance. She revealed a groundbreaking partnership and a project that outshone everything Vanessa had claimed as her own. Screens displayed undeniable results, profits, innovation, and recognition that Sophia had earned through skill and strategy. The audience erupted in applause, and for the first time, Vanessa's smile faltered. Whispers of admiration and shock filled the room as Sophia's rivals realized they were no longer in control. She had turned the game around entirely. Her humiliation had become their fear. In one moment, Sophia had not only reclaimed her respect but cemented her power publicly. The woman everyone had mocked was now the most powerful presence in the city, and it was clear, no one could underestimate Sophia Clarke again. Weeks after the conference, Sophia Clarke stood in her new office, a spacious corner suite with glass walls that overlooked the entire city. The skyline sparkled under the afternoon sun, but it was nothing compared to the feeling inside her. She had worked hard, endured betrayal, and turned every humiliation into a stepping stone. Now, she was respected, even feared, by those who once laughed at her. Sitting at her desk, Sophia reflected on the journey. Every setback, every cruel word, had taught her patience and resilience. She realized that power wasn't about instant recognition. It was about strategy, timing, and learning to trust her instincts. Her intelligence, once ignored, had become her greatest weapon. The woman who had walked off the gala stage in shame had returned stronger, wiser, and unstoppable. Not everyone in her past had remained in her life. Some colleagues who had undermined her were now distant memories, their influence gone. But a few people who had quietly supported her, who had believed in her even when the world did not, were still there, friends and allies she would never forget. Sophia understood that part of her success was knowing whom to embrace and whom to leave behind. Looking at the city below, a sense of calm settled over her. She no longer sought revenge for the sake of anger. Her victories were now a statement of her worth. The humiliation, the betrayals, and the mocking laughter were gone, replaced by respect, admiration, and a life she had earned through courage and determination. Sophia Clarke had proven to herself and the world that true power comes from within. The fire that had once burned from humiliation had transformed into a light guiding her path. And as she looked ahead, she knew this was only the beginning. The city had witnessed her rise, and the woman who had once been mocked was now a symbol of resilience, strength, and unstoppable ambition.